What's going on, team? Waiting to get Netra in here real quick. We will be rolling. What's up, Nick?
Look, we are in the show. We are in the show.
We are here, but we should be cooking today, so everything should be locked up pretty decently today. Um, so, how was your day going? Real quick.
Good.
Cool.
Good. Ready to go.
All right. All right,
Mhm.
there. Well, as you guys know, what's up? Welcome back to another Transformation Tuesday. If you guys been rocking with us, you know that this is week 3 of our 12-week series leading to our online transformation program. And I am Coach Troy, and the topic just might wrinkle some feather or ruffle some feathers because I'm going to say it just like this. If fat loss was just cardio, everybody would be lean. But they're not, because that's not all it is, so we got to do other things. And
All
coach,
right. All right. And I'm Coach Netra. And today we're going to kill one of those biggest myths around strength training is that women who strength train are going to get bulky. So understand that lifting weights does not make you bulky. It is a what we're going to do to make sure you're metabolically, like internally efficient. That's how we
yeah, for
shape
sure.
the body.
Facts. So if you've been doing nothing but cardio and you definitely are eating less and still feeling soft, this is the episode for you guys. We are here to help you guys understand that cardio isn't the chief operator in fat loss. All right. So we're going to paint this picture for you guys today. And it's like most people's plan probably look like this when you guys think about it. Or you set your New Year's resolution and you probably started off by saying, I'm going to start adding cardio or running a lot more. I'm going to try to sweat as much as possible. I'm going to not follow a meal plan, but I'm going to just not eat as much. I'm probably going to start starving myself. And you get on that hamster wheel and you start running and you just stay in the same place, or you might even crash because after the 3 weeks you just don't start, you stop seeing any results, if you've seen any. And then you just are like, I'm lost, I'm not seeing anything, I don't want to do this anymore.
Mhm.
So Nene, what you got?
So the catch is how that plays into why you feel like you're not seeing results. The words that you'll usually hear women say, but men too, is my metabolism is slow. But
Mm-hmm.
what you really are saying is that metabolically, I just don't burn enough calories at rest. That's what we call that RMR. And studies do show that most people do not have metabolism shifts until they're 60. But what we're saying is that expensive fuel that you need for those muscles, you just don't have enough of the expensive fuel so that your resting metabolic rate is just a little slow.
Exactly. And that's what strength training does. Strength training is what reshapes your body. At the end of the day, strength training is what's going to shape your body. So when we think about, the number one topic for today is muscle increases daily calorie burn, right? So if we have the more muscle that we're going to have, you guys have probably heard the old adage of muscle burns more than fat, right? Or muscle weighs more than fat, so it burns more calories than fat. Muscle creates warmth in our body, so if it's creating warmth in our body, that's what we need in order to create that higher metabolism rate that we need in order to burn some of the calories. So when you're building muscle, your body becomes more expensive to run, right? So it's like upgrading from a Honda to a Hellcat, and that engine just costs more fuel. You know what I mean? So you can't just keep putting in that 87 when you get that new Hellcat or that new Ferrari or anything when you upgrade. So building that muscle is a very, very important thing in order to create that metabolism that you guys are wanting to see burn up some calories.
Hmm. And many of you will feel like you're stuck. You'll say, I just am not seeing what I want to see. And when you feel like you're stuck, you'll start to eat less, you'll over cardio, you'll get a lot more stressed, and then you'll have cravings. Many of you will then binge eat, and then you'll feel guilty about it. But the problem is, when we do strength training, or the correct way to do it is when we do strength training, we could break that cycle so you start to improve how your body actually performs, how it uses energy. Versus right now, you're just trying to make it all be about, I'm just going to cardio to death and I'm going to eat nothing. But that expensive fuel cannot be used that way.
So what do you feel about where are you seeing this at with your clients? You know, let's break it down into real day-to-day type of situation. Are you seeing your I mean, you have male and female. I know you got a higher probably level female clientele, but are you seeing women just say that they are going to really strict with cardio, you know, the scarcity of weight training, you know, what we're about to start talking about in a second as far as putting on the muscle. They don't want to look bulky. But what are you seeing in your true day to day right now?
You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna give you an example. And those of you who are watching, especially if you're watching on Facebook, or you were watching on YouTube, and comment in. I think Troy can see the comments.
Mm-hmm.
But I just had somebody say to me yesterday that their weight lifting is they have bands, and they do Pilates, they do bands, and they with the bands it's more of like a hit style, and I won't say the name of what they are doing because that wouldn't be fair. And so I wrote her and I said, hey, I want you to know that means that what I'm hearing you do is you're cardioing every single day, is what I heard, because the day that she does the band work is somewhat of a hit style with bands. And I said,
Yeah.
so what's happening is the bands are only going to help tire you out, but they're not going to grow any muscles. And she was like, oh man, I thought that, that was going to be my weight training. And she says that. Why? Because we feel like we're using our muscles, we feel like they're burning. And I said, yes, you may be using them and you can start to tone up some things, but the deficiency is there already. So, for example, ladies, if you are already low muscle, you using bands and cardioing every day is never growing anything. So, what you will always do is just tone deficiencies. That's all you will do. So if you had 30 pounds of muscle on your body and all you're doing is toning and cardioing it, you may find that your scale changed, but what you're going to see is the muscle mass will keep dropping, dropping, dropping. And all you're doing is overworking and trying to tone with bands the muscle you
Yeah.
have that is still deteriorating. It's never growing.
So how do you get them to believe in that? Is that a difficult transition that you have? You know, are they reluctant when you say that? Is it easier because you are a woman? You know, I think sometimes for me it's like, "Oh, well, you're a guy and you're just trying to get me to lift weights." So, you know, I think I still fall into that spectrum of it being a little bit more difficult to get them to adhere to the severity of what weight training can do for you.
I will stick with this same example. This woman, when I
Mhm.
said it to her, she was like, "Oh man, I get it." She was like, "Okay, I didn't understand that." So I will get the gym membership, Nitra, because this is someone who is newer to me. And she was like, "I'm gonna get the
Okay.
gym membership. I'm gonna do it." But I didn't realize, I thought that if I use the bands because they work my muscles, I feel like, well, they're burning. She was like, I feel like that's lifting weights because my muscles are getting used. And I was like, no, that's not. The point of lifting weights is to progressively continue to build muscle and maintain. For some people, it's maintain. For some people, it's going to be to continue to build. And the only way we build is under the load. And so she's like, okay, I understand. Now, there are a lot of women who truly don't want to do that because they feel like they hate it. Right. And so that's what we have to really talk about. We have to learn to love it, but we have to build you into it in a way that feels good. Because if you've never done it before, it can be intimidating.
Mhm.
Or maybe you've done it before and you got injured, and now you think, shoot, I'm going to get hurt all the time. So we have to find the right way to kind of break you into it so that you learn to appreciate it in a way that feels safe, but also in a way that progresses you.
Yeah. And I think with me and you, we really try to lean into the why of everything as well,
Hmm.
right? So just like this next little transition is just understanding how strength training improves hormone receptors, right? And insulin sensitivity. And really, I think me and you were discussing insulin sensitivity to someone the other day, or we were talking about it on here. I know we just had a conversation, but really breaking down um how once your body starts to gather more muscle, that it becomes a lot more uh efficient in
Efficient.
breaking and processing down sugars, carbs, and then just helping yourself be able to have that insulin sensitivity at a heighten. Could you go over what insulin sensitivity means
Hmm.
and maybe some telltale signs that you may not be insulin sensitive, and what are some things that we should do, or shit, how they should go about it with food and all of that stuff too.
Of course. So first things first, guys, what does insulin sensitivity mean? And understand that men can get this as well, but it's more
Mm-hmm.
ladies that experience it at certain age ranges. You may hear it more in women. Why? Because there's less muscle. Understand, that's really why.
Mm-hmm.
That's why men don't experience it as much, but there are men
Mm.
who do. I'm going to be clear. There are men who do if they are extreme runners, extreme athletes who do not lift. And as men age, if their muscle mass is dropping as well, they will become sensitive. So, what does it
Got
mean?
you.
When you're insulin sensitive or insulin resistant, it means that your body is producing insulin, but it doesn't know how to use it. So, when we think about that lock and key, right, the insulin is the key to get into your cells to open up and be able to use sugar, use glucose. But when you're resistant, it means my key doesn't work all the time, right? It's not
Mm-hmm.
diabetes, because when we have diabetes, my key almost never works
Never
straight
works.
in, right? But when you're resistant, it means that sometimes my key is going to work, sometimes it doesn't, right? And so the way to get around that is we're going to go to the back door. And that back door is going to be muscles. And more we use them in order to recover them, we need that sugar in there to recover them. So the more you lift, the less sensitive you are, and our bodies are more efficient at using it. Means my key is going to start working all the time. That's
Yeah.
why it's so important. And when we talk about fuel, when we talk about, if we use that car example that Troy already talked about, that fuel is expensive, right? So if
Yeah.
you, the Honda versus the Lamborghini, right, or the
Mm-hmm.
Lexus, your
Mm-hmm.
Honda, both of those cars take fuel, but one of those uses fuel a lot faster and needs more of it because it's moving faster, right? And so your
Yep.
Honda isn't moving. So you're using so much less fuel, but both of you put gas in the car. So we want ours to go faster.
So remember what we were talking about earlier about Dr. Lyons and her comment?
Hmm.
I kind of tie that in, remember, because I kept leaning into you haven't earned it, and you haven't earned it because you haven't built the muscle mass or the blood flow that comes with the muscle mass to even be able to tolerate the volume of carbohydrates that you're taking. So then it's going to get stored and you're still going to look soft, even if you're going for those runs. You just
Hmm.
don't have the muscle density that's going to come from all of that. So it's like cardio alone doesn't shrink you. Strength is what's going to reshape you. And everybody tells us what they want to be toned. So toning isn't just losing weight. They want to have this
Hmm.
firmness to them. And it's not like, obviously, we do high rocks at the gym. So I can't be against cardio. I'm not against cardio. I love performance. I love all of that. But if that's all I'm doing, you and me both know right now I'm in this conundrum of like, I need to still do some bodybuilding training because I can't just lean into all of the high rocks training because it doesn't have me shaped the way that I want it to be shaped. So we're trying to complete this merge of this hybrid training at a high level so you can still look the way, but I can't kill off the fat the way I want to, because my body holds on to it for these long runs to be able to fuel me for longer distances. So um I feel like we have to continuously do strength training to build the muscle. And just like you always say, right now I'm at a higher muscle density, so it's not withering away that fast, but the fat isn't coming off as fast as I wanted to, because it's holding on for that, for those longer bouts of cardio. And
Yep.
like I say, if that's all you do is cardio, and the weight is dropping, but you can't see the composition changing, the body fat altering, coming down, and your lean muscle tissue isn't increasing, then we're going to definitely need to start some strength training going on,
Yeah.
right?
And especially so for the ladies on, and again, y'all, while we talk about women a lot, this is men and women alike. These
Hmm.
things are happening. They just happen to look slightly different because men have more muscle on their body in the first place. So theirs just doesn't appear the same, but it is happening nonetheless on both as people get a little bit older. So when you're not lifting weights and you feel like I just want to lose weight on the scale, what you're going to see is a softer build. And Troy and I laugh all the time. There isn't a person alive who steps in and says, I want to feel like a marshmallow.
At all.
Nobody says that. They say, I want to feel firm. That's the term. Ladies use the term firm. I want to feel firm. I want to
Firm,
look toned, right?
toned.
But the catch is, how do you look like that?
But they
The
always
only
lean into
way,
cardio.
the only way to look firm and to feel firmer is that there has to be more muscle underneath to feel firm, because fat does not feel firm. Fat is soft. All right.
Mm,
It's softer. So if you want to feel firmer, the only way to do that is to build a muscle underneath, and we're gradually creating more efficiency, and then you're burning more fat off the top. And so
mhm.
every one of you will have a different idea of aesthetics. Sometimes we get caught up in the aesthetics of I don't like this or I don't like this. But the fact is, your body will do what it does. And the more we
Yeah.
work it, you will be able to see, hey, I like this look right here. And you keep
I,
building into
yeah.
that.
Yeah, for sure. Because I mean, strength training is what's going to give you the shape, the curves, the tightness, the confidence, the definition, all of those things that everybody wants. And we're going to get into how long it actually takes and how specific you actually need to be in order for women to get bulky and things like that. But um let's just go into you educating on what I just, kind of leaned
Yeah.
into with just this bulky, because how long have you been training?
Yeah. And so understand, like, so with Troy, I've been training for, I think we're about to go on 7.5
7?
years
Yeah.
together. But understand, y'all, I've lifted weights since I was 19 or 20 years old. And there's different levels of it. There's different stages of life that, hey, I'm pregnant, you gained 50 pounds, we have to pull back, I've got an injury, there's all these different levels of it. But when it's strict full on, that you've been training for a long time, you know how long it takes to look like you lift weights? It's like you could feel like you lift weights before you look like you do, and it takes a lot of effort. So there's never a moment of like bulky. Bulky means that you are weighing probably more than you typically would. I'll give you an example. Maybe if I weigh 160 pounds, which I've probably only weighed that like one time, one time
Just say that's
outside
heavy.
of outside of being pregnant,
The
I've
crazy
only
thing
weighed
is
it one
you
time.
could though, and still you
Yeah,
tall enough and you
and it
could.
would still look normal. Everybody else would
Yeah.
feel like, oh, that looks good. But to me, it's going to feel too heavy for me.
Yeah.
However, that to me may have felt bulky because that's just larger than I want to be. But the muscles never look bulky, even though that was intentional. We were working on building the muscles up, 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 up so that I could bring them all back down. And so I've never looked bulky. I've never even had a person say it to me.
I was ready to say,
I've
how many
never,
times have you ever had
I've
a
never
woman
even had it
say
happen.
or heard the whispers? I don't hear that. Every woman that
Yeah,
I've been around for you, what, for the last
yeah,
7 years has been like, oh my gosh,
yeah,
Nitra's body looks insane. Her body
yeah.
looks amazing.
Never. Never
So
had it happen
I
on the
don't get that
street,
because
from
it's
a man,
crazy to
from
me
nothing.
that
Nowhere.
women say that and will fear weights, but they don't fear being tired and
Mm-mm.
miserable from endless amounts of cardio. Oh my gosh, I was on the elliptical for 40 minutes the other day. I went
Yeah.
to a spin class this week. I was doing this week. I went to that rowing classes, and I'm like, that's fine. I'll never
Yeah.
not talk about conditioning. I'm
It's
a strength
never,
and conditioning coach. But
nobody ever
my
says it. What you can
God,
hear though is for women, that's why I say, ladies, you may have an aesthetic that you feel like you've seen something and you're like, oh, I don't like that for me. But I promise you, with the things that you see, whether it's a larger muscle or either more like defined, some of you
hmm,
do not like that level of definition because you think it looks too hard. That is actually where you're going to get probably more comments, is the level of leanness. People don't like that,
yeah,
right? But understand what it takes to look like that. That
I
is
was ready
like
to say
such a
that's a
small
lot.
percent. That is so tiny. Listen, y'all, it's like this many people are going to look super lean all the time. So
I
we're
mean,
not even worried about that. We're not even
I'm
worried about
training.
that.
Me and you are both training twice a day.
We're not worried.
I'm running. I just ran 36 miles. I ran two bouts of
Yeah.
10 miles last week. I'm not that lean right now. You know
You're
what I'm
not.
saying?
And so I'm
It
like,
takes,
mm,
because diet isn't even matching up with that right now. So like it takes so much to look how these young ladies feel that they're going to end up looking from lifting some weights. You know what I'm saying? And
mhm.
it's just
And they're
like,
not.
try these three different breakdowns of training, and I promise you that you'll see the results that you want to see. You're not going to be um overly stressed with too many different options and availability. It's just as simple. It's always getting in the gym and trying to do most of your foundational lifts, your squat or any type of lower body hinge. You know what I'm saying? I'm cool with deadlifts, RDLs, hip thrusts, goblet squats, split squats, back squats, front squats, anyone exert your squats. And this is guy or girl. You know, we are
Hmm.
not just touching base with young ladies, but this is guy or girl, your most simplistic. Start off 4 sets at 8 to 10 or 3 sets at 8 to 10 reps, you know, and just keep building on things like that. But, you know, if you need more specificity, that's what we are here for. And for your pushes, your upper body push, your push-ups, your barbell bench press and or incline bench press, and your incline dumbbell shoulder press or barbell shoulder press. You only need 3 to 4 different movements in order to do your upper body pushes. And just like you see me and
Every
Evan
day.
today, right? Evan had pull-ups today, he had rowing today, and he had some back extensions today. So we tried to hit all different areas of the back. But rows, pull-ups, and pull downs. You guys did them today as well. You know, you targeted that back. So if you master those three just little patterns in those three areas of a lower body hip hinge. So like I said, you can be doing an RDL that's still going to stress. You can do a RDL and a back squat on the same day, right? So we toasted the hamstring and quad in that situation. You could get your push up, your bench press, and your shoulder press all in the same day because you just did a push day, and then your upper body pull day, and you just recycle that evolution 3 to 4 times a week if you need to, or 2 to 3 times a week if you need to, however many days you're trying to train. And that's just simplifies uh, training. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
And so many people feel so frustrated, or they feel confused because, like I said earlier, they can get intimidated. And then you feel like, well, what am I going to do at a gym? And I don't
Mm,
have, I don't
mm.
know. But this is why I tell people, that's why we exist. That's why people like us exist, to help you with structure. Because what I find is, women and men alike, and this, the difference is, women are more apt to admit fear
Yes,
of it, and men
yes.
don't admit it, but they have no idea what they're doing, and so they waste time too, and they don't see results. And many of you listening may be in that camp where you feel like you work out all the time, but I promise you, then when you go into something structured, you're like, oh my God, I'm dying. Like, what? I have not done this. Or as that man who now gets structured, you can see results in 30 days. You see something, you're like, oh shoot, I've been working out for 2 years. And now in the next, these 30 days, because I had structure, my body looks different.
Yeah.
Ladies, you can get stronger faster. And especially if it's new for you, we can bump up strength so much faster because you are new. It's people who've been working out forever that the strength gains are small, small, small because
Yeah.
we're almost at the limit of our capacity, period, like
it
ever
puts
that your
the
body's
it
gonna
puts
have.
the monkey on your back when you're training with them people because they're able to catch you. Now I want to say so fast, but then because our growth period is, sometimes you're really
Oh,
close to your ceiling.
yeah.
Once you've been training for as long as we've been training, and the older we're getting, we're not getting any younger in this thing. So the older we're getting and the closer we're getting to a ceiling, and then you see somebody younger, or only been in the gym for 2 or 3 years with us right now, and it's like they're there with us, and it's like you can see, like you said, so much growth in
Yeah.
30 days when programming isn't random, when it's in phases, when it has progression and training with a purpose, man. And
You
yeah,
can
that's
see somebody, ladies, you could see someone, let's say it's something like a deadlift. I'm going to use that as example because I feel like people have a you can move, especially average height. Let's just say an average height person, 5'5". We're going to say a 5'5" woman. You can literally in a year, you could see somebody even 6 months bump 100 plus pounds from their starting point, right?
yeah.
But you're never going to see me bump up 100 pounds. I'm never going to bump 100 more pounds. I may be able to bump 5 more pounds here or there, but I'm never going to jump up 100 more pounds unless I've changed my entire life and I said I wanted to power lift or do something different.
Yeah, you said
But a
in the
regular
deadlift, you
person,
picked the deadlift.
yeah, let's say
Yeah, we
100
could get
pounds, you'll see
somebody.
somebody
We could
bump.
get like somebody like Leak, right? We could get a Leak deadlifting today, and let's say her deadlift was 155. I easily could get her at least to 225 by the end of the year.
Yes,
You know what I mean? That's just on like her having the programming, and it's
yes.
like programming with the phase. But then she also deals with you, so she has the nutritional support.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, you can do so much, ladies, and you don't have to feel intimidated. And men, you don't have to feel like you know what you're doing because I promise you that many men do not know what they're doing. You are pulling workouts from other people that you've seen, you're piecing it together. The moves are not put together in a way that is progressive and either short reps. There's so many things that are happening that don't progress you because you don't actually have a program
Yeah.
and you don't have structure.
And I just wonder why. I wonder why people fight that. And it's just like, how, I'm reading this book, Atomic Habits, and it's like, create these habits and create some structure that is going to really set you up for success. If you say that you want this, it's still somewhat at the beginning of the year. Not somewhat, it's still the beginning of the year. We're still in that first quarter. And I know it's people here that are mostly doing cardio right now. I know it's people here that are scared to lift heavy. And it's like, well, what are you training for? Are you training to lose weight, or are you training to shape your body? You know what I'm saying? So, like, things like that, if you're training to lose weight, then okay, keep going with your runs. But if you're training to shape your body and lose weight, then I just feel like you guys need some coaches. And right now, our 12-week transformation is almost live and well, and we're about to start crushing this with you guys. So, um, Nitra needs
Yeah.
to just let you guys know that uh, losing weight is a journey, but she has a softer way of bringing it to you guys.
Yeah. And the thing is, what you have to remember for each of you, ladies and men alike, if you choose not to strength train because you think you don't need it, right? Many ladies believed they didn't need it. And my walking, right? My walking is going to strengthen my legs. No, it does not.
Mm.
No, it does not. No, it does not. You will burn some fat on your legs, but it's never strengthening. It's not
Mm.
strengthening them. I want to be clear on that. It is not strengthening anything. Your weighted vest is not strengthening your legs. No, we're going to help burn some fat off your body, but it is not growing muscle. It's not strengthening anything. Men who think that they don't need to lift weights. There are a lot of men out here who are listening who think that they don't need to lift weights because they too don't like a bulky look. Even for men, it's going to be a part of what you naturally look like, your genetics. And if your genetics aren't a larger muscle in the first place, you're not going to all of a sudden look huge. You're not. All you're going to do is shape up your body better.
Yeah.
And we're going to see your real shape come through. And so, what we're trying to avoid is problems aging, and you don't want to have osteopenia or osteoporosis. And contrary to what many of you believe, you think men don't get it. I promise you, yes, they
Yes, they
do,
do.
especially when we don't have what proper protein intake, or individuals who are maybe plant-based eaters, vegetarians who don't actually get enough protein. You are seeing it in men. Also, all cultures have osteopenia, so please do not think that's just for women.
Yeah.
This is why we have structured programs to help you be your fittest, strongest self.
Yeah, for sure. So if you want the plan and you want to be accountable, tap in with us, guys. The link is going to be in the bio. And next week is a big one. I think this is like your wheelhouse all the way next week. So I'm excited to even hear a couple things going on next week with hormones, stress, sleep, and that stubborn fat again, man.
I got perfect examples for them next week. Some couple
I
people
already
working
know.
with right now who all we had to do was de-stress them a little bit, and we can see it happen like clockwork. Everything just moves into place.
I already know you do. I can't wait, like I said. So, all right, y'all. We appreciate you guys checking in today. Comment, like, share this with a friend. Last week, it was great to have some people comment out and reach out to us for some help. So, we'll see you guys next Tuesday, Transformation Tuesdays at 12, man. Peace
See you
out,
next
man.
week.